Hey everyone. So at the end of the last video, I said we'd come back today and hopefully progress through the next cup round and then most likely lose to Bayern. And the cup draw decided to reward me for that by giving us Dortmund in the quarterfinals. So obviously not likely that we're going to advance. We'll obviously do the best we can. And then it's also a match against our rivals. So what we had to do was try to rotate our squad against Gladbach and lost 1-0 in a game they really dominated. We almost stole a point, but really weren't in control of the match at all. And essentially, the thing I want to do is avoid getting blown out today, hopefully. Don't want to do that twice in a row against our rivals. Before we jump into the match, I did want to quickly look at something in the data hub. I think I talk a lot when I talk about the data of the context being important. And I think a good example of that is the expected goals in the last two matches. So if I look at the Hoffenheim match, if we looked at XG, it would say we got really lucky to win 5-1. Only 1.5 expected goals against 1.16. But that's really based on the type of shots and where they come from. And if we actually look at the shot map, it's a little bit different than that. Look at ours. We put some off target, but we were getting shots in good locations, and you can see there's very few that were blocked for them. For the most part, we were getting clear chances on net. Maybe this adds up from location and shot type to only 1.5, but 5 might be a little bit overstated, but I think 3, 4 is probably realistic based on the opportunities we're getting. On the other hand, their shot map doesn't look that much different from ours, other than obviously volume on our side. But when you start looking at the details, you know, see a lot of theirs were getting blocked or off target. We were doing a really good job of getting bodies in the way. So it's not necessarily capturing the XG, but our defensive strategy, and we've seen that when we've looked at the where our defensive actions have taken place in the past. We're really getting bodies in the way, blocking a lot of shots, and that doesn't necessarily show up in the data. So in that case, I think the XG says we got lucky and maybe we didn't. The match against Gladbach is really the opposite. They dominated. XG says they should have won 2.6 to 1, and would be that we're lucky to only have lost 1-0. And in this case, that's legitimate. We got dominated for most of the match. We couldn't really find a way to stop them. And you just look at this shot map from their perspective, a ton of chances inside the box, right in front of net. Easily could have been way more than one goal. So I just want to point to that. I think that's why I always like to say that the data is always important, but you also need to understand the context behind it. So in this case, 2 matches in a row where the data would say we got lucky, and in reality, I would say one where we definitely did and one where we didn't. We really controlled the match. Before we jump in, I got rid of the 3 at the back option for us and moved to having 2 different 4-3-3s. The one we'll play today against Dortmund and likely again against Bayern is just a more defensive version of what we've been playing. So balance instead of positive, fullback's going to support and defend instead of attack and support. Put a ball-winning midfielder in the middle to try to have 2 different central midfielders focused on shoring up our defense. So now we'll jump right in. Hopefully see if we can do a little bit better than last time when we got pretty well demolished by Dortmund, especially by Holland. No surprise they're going with the 4-3-1-2. Holland up front is obviously the one we're most worried about. We've been in good form up until that Hoffenheim match, and going with like I said, the changes in our tactics a little bit, but the same formation we've been playing for the majority of the season. Say the one thing I'm worried about with this formation is just not as much support up front. If we do generate an opportunity, having more of the players on support is not going to have as many people in the box to try to convert any of those chances. Lucky there. Pretty good tackle at first, but dropped right to Holland and generated a good chance for them. They're knocked down to him, and lucky there. Not somebody we want to be giving 3 shots inside the 18. Early yellow card, not great. They run at him. That's obviously going to be concerning for us. See, I thought he was onside there. Yep. So not a great start for us. I'm going to make one change early on and kind of pack our defense in, try to make them cross it, even though certainly can get beat in the air here. I think just trying to not let them build up through the middle, especially with the tactic they're playing. Obviously a dynamic player, but if we can make him pick up the ball that wide and that far away from that, pretty good for us, even if we're going to have to find a way to generate something going forward. Try to get through this half, keeping it close, and then look at, do we make some changes to try, see if we can convert here. Bad giveaway by them there, and we tie it up. If we look at the advanced stats, other than the shot, we've actually been okay in this match so far. The highlights haven't necessarily shown it, but I'm looking over here, not necessarily even advanced stats, but let's pause back up again. We had, at least the last time I glanced over, that's what we can't do. As I'm talking about how well we played, just get beat through the middle. We're missing our 2 first choice center backs, so not necessarily shocked that we're struggling there, but that's just too easy of a getting beat too easily with wide modeling there. Can't let that happen. And our chances of getting 2 against them, they have started to take over possession. That's one thing I noticed. We were leading early on, but they've taken that over, not surprising. But we'll see if we can get another one. Just hoping maybe just 1-1 would get us through at least in extra time, if not shootout. But hopefully we can just at least avoid this getting out of hand and then set ourselves up to maybe make one late. Decent opportunity there from the corner from them. That's an area of this game that we're really going to have to try to have a handle on. It is set pieces. Ideally, we'd like to win some and generate some chances that way. Give us a chance to get more players forward than we have in our just run a play tactic. Yeah, halftime late. We might make some substitutions and definitely make a couple tweaks to the formation. Nice interception there to keep that pass from getting through to Holland. Got a couple more minutes to get through to hopefully keep this striking distance going into the second half. But great header there by Royce. Pretty poor defending in the center from us, and most likely that gets this game out of hand for us. We'll still make the changes to try to have something to play for in the second half, but not ideal, and like we would have probably expected. I think that one to me, it looked like straight offside before the free kick. But nope, so 4-1 at halftime. To me, still looks like he's straight offside. I mean, it's close, but to me, and obviously this is a matter of Football Manager really going by the dots in the background, not the 3D animation. But based on this, to me, he was offside there, but nothing we can do about it. Clearly, poor performance for us in this first half, especially the second half of it. We'll make some changes, but not looking good for us. I'm going to put Matondo on attack, see if we can generate anything there. Flick up here, and then obviously picking up so many yellow cards, not ideal for us either. Puts us in a tough position to try to really do anything. See, I think what we have to do is look at the analysis after this match, because the first time we played this more defensive version. Obviously, there's a huge gulf in talent between us and Dortmund and Bayern, but look and see if there's anything we can do going into that Bayern match to try to see something better than this. Really cool. Again, they have more talent, but there's no way we should have let that cutback get through so easily. We have 3 versus 3 in the middle. Not ideal, but we can do it, and just nobody marks Royce. We have an anchor man there that could have dropped back, 2 center backs that didn't get up to him. It's really poor defensive organization. Yeah, right there was what I was worried about with just playing so defensive. We get decent ball in, but there's just nobody to really make that killer pass to once we generate something. I think this just shows, and we have good young talent on our team. We have clearly enough to compete in the Bundesliga and hopefully stay here, but there's a huge gulf to really contend for the league, so it really emphasizes the need to build smartly as we go forward and not try to make a big splash when we get to the next summer to try to compete right away, because that's just clearly not going to happen. We need to invest in our young players and then look for the smart buys that can help us so that hopefully when we eventually move up to being able to compete with those teams, that they're ready to do so. We're not going to find somebody that's going to be the difference maker between competing for the Champions League and competing against those two for the league anytime soon. Outnumbered on the break here, in our position, not ideal to be in. Looking at that, really poor tackle. Probably lucky not to give up a yellow card. I think it will be, we got a couple months to get there. I think it will be a busier, that's way outside, a busier transfer window for us in the summer, because we do need to start making decisions about who is a member of this team in the long run, and then trying to get what we can for some players now. There'll probably be a decent number that we let go for free when we get there, just to get the payroll off the books, allow us to invest more in our young players. Yeah. We were talking about the XG earlier, 2.3 against 1.4. Doesn't look like we've been dominated as much as they have. I think it's another example of this would tell us we've been unlucky, and I don't think that's the case. I think, right there, that's just terrible defending. We haven't been good enough on the back line for us to stay in this match. Doesn't end up counting, but just, we have four against 2, and then 1 moves forward for no reason, really. And just leave us up the back. 3 against 2 should still be enough, but there's really no reason to step up there. There's no threat, and we didn't have any chance to counter at that point. I thought Flick might have been offside. Let's see. Doesn't look like it, so that's something. One of the reasons that Flick has become my preferred choice in the defensive midfielder spot is just done a good job of building up, and it's something to keep in mind if we keep playing this more defensive style against some teams, that he could step up into that ball-winning midfielder and support and generate some offense for us as well. So 5-2, not great. I think some of this I would give to just not having our 2 first-choice center backs has clearly not helped us. There's been too many easy balls through. The one thing I do like is getting those 2 goals, one on a bad error from them, the other one on pretty good build-up play. I think maybe going forward we do leave Matundo on the attack role, or whoever's playing that right wing role. But I think that tells us that there is at least a chance to get some goals out of this, that we're not playing too defensive. This, I don't know if I can't remember if I mentioned or not, we did bring Jordan Ayew in at the end of the transfer window. Got him for pretty cheap. He was a free agent, so I think for us just gives us a backup choice off of the bench that is more suited to that striker role than some of the players we had to force in there in the past. Gives us a little bit more chance to rotate Joveljic out, give him some rest. I think he's been a player that we've seen. Maybe he's not world class at this point, but I think he's good enough to be our first choice striker for the foreseeable future. So gives us a position that we don't really need to worry about, hopefully, unless we get a big money move for him to leave. But hopefully, can pencil him in there, and then just need to look for backup around him. I think Matundo is good off the right. We have other. Coulter's been really strong for us, but I think just age-wise, not a player we're going to build around. But up front, we do have other wing options. Maybe we do need to find some that are more comfortable playing on the left. I feel like we're a little bit heavy on the right-hand side, but overall, I think we're in good position on those winger spots. We've done a pretty good job investing in the central midfield. But the back line, I think we'll need some help down the line, especially the center backs. If nothing else, I think we need more depth. So as we deal with these injuries that are going to happen in any season, obviously more pronounced this time with the condensed schedule, but we need to have better rotation options throughout the squad. And I think, we're talking about finding young players that we can build around, but at times, sometimes a smart move, I'm not saying Ayew will necessarily turn out to be a good move. It could be a complete bust, but, we only gave him a contract till the end of the season. I think finding a veteran like that we can just plug in on a cheap contract for a year while we wait for people to grow, it is certainly not a bad idea for us. It just gives us a chance to let some of our young players grow and not be forced into huge responsibilities too early. And that's going to be key for us. So really poor performance. Not too much to say to them really, but So not good. We'll see if we need to change anything in the tactic, even though I don't think it was too bad. Um, yeah, decent money for making the quarters. We're only supposed to make it to the third round. So we'll see if we change anything, and then be back in a minute to face off against Bayern. All right, everyone. So a couple of changes to the squad since last match, bringing Harit in. We're going to start with Flick in that ball-winning midfielder spot, and brought in Wouters to that anchorman position. And then Kabak is able to play fitness test is about 75 minutes, so at least going to start him as one of our center backs. So hopefully improves us back there a little bit. Very lucky there. Could have given up a goal, 30 seconds in. Again, another example. We need better depth in that center back position. It's not going to get it done against teams like this. We could see growth with a young player back there, but we need stronger defense than that there. Beat far too easily. Very lucky there. I think even though it's early, we need to make a couple changes. When I use get stuck in so early, it opens us up to a lot of yellow cards that we can avoid having happen so early on. Good chance for us. I think good build-up play over on the left, and then got the cross in. Maybe not how we have the tactic designed to have, the inside forward crossing it from over there, but at least gets us a chance on target. They basically do the exact same thing. Obviously, they have a better finisher up there with Lewandowski, but pretty good chance for us. Pretty well worked off of that, winning the second ball, getting it back, and then across the face of goal. Just a lot of traffic, and they're not able to get it through. Out of the back there from us, so it was scary, especially against a team like that, to be having to build it up from the goalies and center backs. Good save. Obviously a shot from far out, but good save from far. That's a position scouts have recommended we look to improve at goalkeeper. Definitely from an age perspective, I think we need to start looking, even though we do have some good, strong players coming up through the youth teams. But from my perspective, he's been really strong for us. Doesn't necessarily stand out as a position that we need to make a priority in the summer. Make clear that we deserve more out of this first half, I think, even though for the most part we're getting good traffic in the middle, so that's part of why they haven't really been able to convert. But poor tackle attempt there. Good recovery. Gives up the corner. Good recovery to not give up an easy chance there. You know, 13 shots to 3. Clearly, they're dominating, even though using 13 shots only generating 0.8 of expected goals. They've had a decent number of chances, a lot off target. 4 chances from the 6-yard box that are all off target. A couple saves, and then 1 post and a couple blocks, most of them from far out. So obviously we need to avoid those ones going forward. Only 3 chances from us, but all from pretty much exactly where we want to be. Not much of a heat map from us, just haven't had the ball at all. But I think what's good looking at theirs is just how much they've had to build up through the back. When you look at the heat map, good positioning from us, just forcing them to, even though they're obviously a team that's comfortable doing it, I'd rather have them getting their possession there than in better attacking positions. Poor giveaway there, but at least good recovery to get it right back. And there's another good example of winning the first ball, getting to the second. Not able to get that cross in. Was hoping it would at least turn into a corner there, but bounce just didn't go our way. Poor, very poor, but Lewandowski puts it over. Really poor attempt to intercept that pass. And a goal. So we nick one. We do have playing for set pieces on. I think it's our best chance when we're playing this tactic. We're going to be playing against teams that are stronger, so trying to get a goal out of set pieces is our best chance. And good header there. I think we've seen some struggles defensively from him, but great job there to convert from the set piece. But really, poor defensively on the other set piece. Just wide open on the first ball, and then nobody steps up to the second to give it right back. See here, nobody follows him out. So too easy to win that first ball, and then just puts it on Clavard. A little bit lucky maybe on that finish, but it's really the first ball that killed us. Nobody getting out there to put any pressure on. Really, I think this tactic looks like it's the better choice for us when we need to play defensively. I've seen struggles against Dortmund, but this compared to our first match against Bayern, much stronger. So we know Kabak can't make it through the match. I think what I'll do is drop Rogers down there, bring Baumgartlinger in. See how up front, not too surprising that they're all struggling. I think Matondo is struggling for fitness too. Going to bring Matondo on, who's a young player for us, and maybe not the match that generally would want to bring him in for, but he's been performing really well for us lately. Players struggling for fitness at this point, but really after we get through this match, and now that we're out of the cup, go to a more typical schedule of one match a week. Gives us a chance to train more, which will be good too. We can work on some more things to improve our performances, but the biggest thing is will let us use our first choice squad more often going forward. See how this highlight plays out, and then see if we make our last substitution here, but really poor and great save there after getting beat over the top. As long as this doesn't turn into anything, just want to let this play out to see where we want to make our last substitution. Bad giveaway. Okay. Now, on the back. Looking, a lot of players obviously tired, not surprising. We've been playing defense for most of this match. I think I'm going to bring Scott up front, give him a chance at that striker role. Maybe not his preferred position, but I think gives us a chance to maybe nick something here at the end. I think the one thing to me, at least when I've watched his struggles with compared to Joveljic, is just giving us the chance to win those long balls up front. Not really as strong at knocking them down, giving us a chance. There, I thought Lewandowski had straight offside, but I guess we'll see. But no, looks like goal awarded. So disappointing. 5 minutes away from getting a point out of this. Better performance from us, but we obviously would like the point and borderline. But I think this time probably was onside. See if we can steal anything, but definitely looks like likely a loss, but much better performance than the first time we matched up against them. Gives a little bit of hope for our next matchup against Dortmund as well, if we can get comfortable with this formation. Alright, so 2-1. Like I said, much better than the first time. Still would have liked to get that point that we were so close to. Dropped a few points late in matches, but overall decent performance and better run of fixtures for us coming up. So hopefully keep those continental places to qualify for Europe in our first season back. So we'll come back in a little while and see how we do with that. Thanks, everyone.